As some of you guys know, Universe Mode is my favorite mode in the WWE 2K franchise, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more today. There's a lot of stuff to go on ahead because a lot of people have been asking, okay, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you book it if you're not using Rivalry? So here today, we're going to talk about a little bit of the rundown on how I rock out with my Universe Mode. So let's go on ahead and get into all that. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. You guys have been enjoying the content. We are on our way to 25,000 subscribers. Let's get it. WWE 2K26's Universe Mode has been a bit rocky this year, but there's a couple things that have consistently been working for me that I haven't really found an issue with this year thus far. Now, with that being said, rivalries is probably one of the things that are not working as intended. I am someone that hasn't used the rivalry system in a long time because I hate how it has the wrestlers face each other a lot. Now, I don't know if it still does that, but I know that at the time of using rivalries, that was a case. So for me personally, I try to stay away as much as possible from rivalries, and I'm seeing that a lot of people have asked, okay, if you're not using a rivalry system, how do you use the intense cutscenes? And now that I'm starting to realize, like, okay, I use free mode. So in case some of you guys don't know about free mode, that is something that you can use. You can literally choose pretty much any cutscene that you want. And here you guys will realize that you can literally choose whatever promo you want, everything. And now obviously there is some stuff like betrayal or cash-ins that you're not going to be able to do in one-on-one matches, but literally if you go through this, you can see. Now, one thing that you are going to notice is that for some of these cutscenes, they must be enemies. So you got to go on ahead and put them in, whether they're an ally or someone that they don't get along with, you can go on ahead and do that. There are certain requirements that you are going to need, but that is the way that you can go on ahead and do it. And I haven't had an issue doing it this way ever. There are some people that told me they didn't even know about free mode, but this is probably one of the best things that 2K implemented with the rivalry actions, because again, if you're someone like myself, a lot of the things that I like to do is I like to note some of these things down in a notebook, a Google Sheet. There are now creators out there that are coming up with these Universe Mode planners that you can go on ahead and get. There's some even free ones that are really, really good as well. I'll try to leave a link down below for anybody that wants to go on ahead and maybe get into using that. And I know it sounds like, man, you're doing a little bit too much, but for those that are entrenched into Universe Mode, I promise you is not going to feel that way. So being able to book your rivalries in that way, that's probably the best thing that we can go on ahead and do just for now. And I know that this is something that will eventually probably be fixed, but even when it gets fixed, I will likely pass on using it in the first place. Just my 2 cents with that. We've had the discussion of, are we running 3 shows, 2 shows? And in my Universe Mode setup video, I was running 3. Now, I've always been someone that likes to run 3, but sometimes it gets really tough. Now, 2, I feel like that's the perfect balance. You know, if you have a lot of time on your hands, then you can add that 3rd developmental show or legit brand, however you want to go on ahead and do it. But I do prefer to run 2 brands over 3 just because of time constraint. Now, 3 is something that I may do once in a while, but 2, it's like Raw, SmackDown, and then you kind of get to mess around with that because I like running about 4 to 5 full matches a show, and then I like to spice in some promos, some rivalry cutscenes to kind of build some storylines. So that is the way that I usually like to run my shows in my calendar. I feel like 2 and then the PLEs, and I feel like if there is a double PLE and it's too fast, I kind of like to move around that and maybe even delete it at times. Like Saturday Night Main Event, you will notice at times that will go on ahead and sometimes be right behind or right before a PLE. So just something to go on ahead and be careful. Even though that's not technically a PLE, that's like a special show, it's still to me, you know, something where I got to set up some big matches, and I would rather do those big matches at like a Money in the Bank or a SummerSlam, whatever the case is, wherever Saturday Night Main Event lands. Just, you know, be careful for what's around it. You know, you can do it a couple of times, but me personally, I kind of like to balance myself with that. Now, for those that are doing 2-night events, one thing I have noticed is that since it's not fixed yet, and I'm sure that it will at some point, hopefully we get a patch later on this week, but you can go on ahead and set up the PLE twice instead of having the 1 and 2 day feature. That's just my 2 cents with that. Like, I feel like you're probably going to end up having a way better experience doing it that way. Just having your PLE here and then the next day do the same PLE, but don't use the 2-day system. Even though, you know, I want to continue using it that way, for now, this seems to be a good go around for a lot of people that have been struggling with the 2-day events, because it seems that those 2-day events, whenever you go to the second night, even keeping the same matches from the night before, is just a really big mess. So that is definitely something to be aware of when booking, two-night PLEs such as SummerSlam and WrestleMania. One important thing as well is the paybacks. Now, you guys know that there are multiple paybacks. The low blow payback is my favorite one for the heels, in my opinion, but that one to me, again, is super important because if you want a wrestler that is, in your case, over, you don't want them to go on ahead and lose clean. You can have a heel wrestler hit him with a low blow or whatever the case may be. That way you can kind of get that illusion of getting that win for that heel wrestler, but they didn't do it clean. And there is multiple paybacks that allow you to do this, but again, the low blow is my go-to one, just to be able to protect certain wrestlers and whatnot, but still have those heel wrestlers still get the win. Now, the draft, right? We talked about this in the setup video. Some have asked, are you doing more than one draft, a year? No, I am not doing more than a draft a year. Now, with that being said, some people like to do two. I just like to do one draft, get through the whole year, and then run my draft back again, refresh things a little bit, take my champions and swap them up. If someone has a United States Championship on SmackDown and someone has the Intercontinental, I'm cool with swapping those championships from show to show and just getting, a better, just refreshed product, in my opinion. So that for me, I haven't gotten to my second year of universe mode yet. I do sim a lot. Like, that's the way I like to book things. If I feel that, okay, we got to get these matches out the way for like qualifiers and stuff like that, I like to just go through and simulate them, unless I want like a dirty finish to happen, in my opinion. So that's the way that I would personally go ahead and do that. Now, the one big thing that I will always recommend is, guys, use promos. Promos to me is probably the biggest thing that we can go on ahead and use right now, right? And I understand that obviously we have rivalry cutscenes, but promos, I love the call outs. I love the little things that they've added where you can set up a match and you can choose the type of match, and the post-match interviews, those as well. You can use those interviews to set up for the next week or PLE. Like, I've done the post-match interview where Trick Williams wins a match and then he's like, all right, you know what? I'm going for the title now. And then I use that and then I put him in a title match the very next week or the week after because he's earned it. So there's different ways that you can go on ahead and handle that, but use your promos. If you want to go on ahead and open up a show with a call out, use it. Like, I'm the type of person when playing universe mode that I really like to make it feel like a sim show, but with my own twist and my own spin and my own rivalries on it. And that is one of the ways that I like to do it. I like sometimes opening up the show with a promo. There is so much possibilities with the promos. I know that some people want voiceovers and things like that, but as of right now, this to me is good enough. It fills that, promo spot for me. So right now, that's the way that I would do it. And custom match types, that is a big one, right? There's so much you can do with custom match types. And if you guys haven't watched my video from last year, you can basically implement a similar thing with custom match types. But for example, if you're doing a Royal Rumble or an Elimination Chamber, the week before, you can put all 6 wrestlers in a ring and have a knockout finish where every finisher that someone gets hit on, they get eliminated. And that kind of gives you that vibe of, you guys remember back in the day where we saw on live television when all the entrants for the match, right, for an Elimination Chamber, get in the ring cutting promos on each other. Now they all attack each other because of that custom match type. So there's so many ways that you can use your creativity for it. And obviously there are things that I would love to see in this game that just makes this a bit easier. But the custom match types, that is something that I don't feel can get much easier unless they add a rivalry cutscene and promos, where now if there is 6 people in a chamber, they should allow these 6 people in a chamber to interact in a cutscene. Right now, we don't know when we're ever going to get that, if we ever are, because I feel that the rivalry system is so behind. There's just multiple ways to do it if you just use your creativity. So these are just some tips, some stuff that I am currently doing to just enhance my universe mode experience. And not only that, you also have rosters and things like that where I just like to do 35 to 40 people. These rosters do not have to be filled up all the way. If you feel that these wrestlers are taking up space, then don't use them, and remove them out the roster and put them back in whenever you want, because I want to have the wrestlers that I'm going to use, in my opinion. And that if you're gonna want to run a squash match or whatever the case may be, you keep a couple low-rated wrestlers on your roster as well. I'm someone that just likes to have a clean universe mode, man. Nothing too random going around. That's the reason why I delete tag teams that I know I'm not going to use. I've removed superstars that I know I'm not going to use as well. I know that universe mode is at a point right now where it does feel extremely broken, and hopefully that is going to be fixed. But a lot of the tips that I just gave you, they have been working for me even through the brokenness. So we'll have to see what happens, man. But this was a video that I did feel like making because I know a lot of you guys were wondering, okay, besides the template, what else do you do? Now, this is not where the universe mode series ends. I got something else coming for y'all, covering divisions, tables, just everything that you guys will need to kind of just push your universe mode forward if you needed an idea of where to go. That's going to be it for me today, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. You guys have been enjoying the content. I'm going to catch y'all. Peace.